across from me in the white, Moses Kuria, who is the Gatunda South MP. Next to me is Senator Moses Kajwang of Homa Bay, and in the middle is it senatorial hopeful?
The coming
David Makali. That sounds really wrong.
The coming senator.
The coming senator. Okay.
Yes.
Great. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We're talking about the week in politics, of course, reviewing the events, the launch of the Jubilee Party and ODM's 10-year celebrations. I want to start with you, Makali. Just from, all the brouhaha that there was around the launch of Jubilee Party. You remember the pictures coming out on social media of the party headquarters, the fleet of vehicles, etc., to the feat that we saw yesterday. What are your first impressions about the party?
I think they tried to put up a good show, but my analysis is that they didn't render it in the manner, in the grand style that they had desired, into the great impact they expected to sort of paralyze and neuter all the political opposition and anybody who would want to challenge the Jubilee machinery. I think, in my view, it was sort of underwhelming. It would have been better rendered, knowing the capacity that they did when they went into 2013, when URP and TNA came together. And what they rendered this particular time, given the preparations, the anticipation, the planning, the negotiations.
What was the anticlimax for you?
The anticlimax was that we just saw one party that has been together, just having a party together. I mean, these are all elements of the same party, apart from a few members who are in other parties who try to come in. They're calling them defectors who declare they're going to run on Jubilee. The rest was basically an in-house big party of the Jubilee parties. And then for me, the anticlimax was the fact that we didn't get the lineup of the new officials, which is what all these parties which came in were anticipating they're going to get. What is our take home from that? What has happened is that Jubilee has come together, but the two leaders have kept...
Something that we had previously said cannot happen.
Yeah. Well, it was going to happen. I don't know why it was never going to happen. But the thing is, they've come together. But then the secret is still with the two gentlemen, the president and the deputy, leaving the others to be basically at their beck and call. So what is your take as a party when you went to merge? Those are the questions which are ringing, and that's, to me, the anticlimax of this whole merger.
Moses?
Well, the news was not about that lounge. It was not about that Hotiso at Kasarani or all the, the issues of style and all that. There's a bigger message in there. 11 parties disappearing on a single day, and there is no genocide, and there is no, some disease, an outbreak of a disease that has killed the parties. 11 parties that are no more today, from all, which have got support and strongholds from all corners of this country, from Newport, Kenya, which has got strong support from Western, to Republican Party, which has got support from Coast, all coming together and saying, we don't have 10 party headquarters, we don't have 10 sets of officials, we have got one party. It can only be good for this country. It can only be good for democracy. And don't tell me about what would have gone right or wrong. The message, the trajectory of what came from this week from Jubilee is going to define our politics and our way of life as a country for a very long time to come.
Moses?
Thank you. 11 parties, 12, 13, depends on who you ask, disappearing. But poverty has not disappeared. Tribalism has not disappeared. You cannot deal with national unity by just dissolving parties. It is not just an issue of moving from one legal form, calling it a coalition, and moving to another legal form called a party. Because nothing has changed. This is business as usual. It's not like Ford Kenya has left CORD to join Jubilee, or ODM has suddenly left CORD to join Jubilee. These are people who are already in cooperation. It is called a coalition, and they are just changing their legal form from a coalition into a political party. So to me, it was really business as usual. And for me, the anticlimax, even though I was busy in Mombasa and I was not really following what was happening, but from the reports, I did not hear a roadmap from Jubilee on dealing with the software issues of this country. The president made a speech that dealt with hardware. He talks about SGR, he talks about roads, he talks about electricity. A good manager can fix hardware, but you require a visionary leader to deal with software. And I think that is where Kenya is suffering. And that is the kind of leadership we need. And that's a message that I didn't hear come from this side of the political
What for you was
divide.
the biggest part or the cream that we should have taken from the president's speech?
I think, let me talk about the software first, even before the president's speech that my brother Moses is talking about. I think the mere act of people coming together and saying, we are not going to allow tribe, religion, gender, divide you because you have decided to stand as one, is the biggest act of software that we saw yesterday.
But he's already saying you're already the same group,
you know,
so you're not
the
really
problem,
crossing
the
line
problem with
to
CORD,
reach out to another group that
the problem
is
with
completely
CORD is
not part of
everything we try and do, they see something wrong. We build road, we put tarmac on roads, they say tarmac is black. We build the railway, they say it looks like
Let's deal with the substance of what he said. Let's deal with the substance of what he said, which is that you were not necessarily seen to be reaching out to a group of people that you had not already persuaded. Respond to that.
My friend, just look at even the people who are there, even who joined Jubilee. From James Rega in Karachuonyo, something which I know Moses is going to find a very bitter pill to swallow. Sitting member of parliament for Karachuonyo, former PS for ICT, one of the leading brains in this country in matters of technology, is now a member of Jubilee. From Vuria in Coast, from 11 out of 22 members of parliament from Mukambani, 50%, Kalonzo Musyoka, in a single day, the share price of Wiper fell by 50%. 11 out of 22 members of parliament left Wiper to come to court. And it's not news.
You know,
from Marsabit County, the governor of Marsabit County, the women rep of Marsabit County, the senator of Marsabit County. Yeah, I think they left the key in Marsabit to the door, to the court door in Marsabit with the janitor or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it was a whole
with the janitor.
Yeah, it was en masse. They moved in there. Yet to them it's not news. Come on.
Okay. Macaulay.
No, you know, what Moses is not delivering is, I don't see how, for example, the movement of James Rege to Jubilee as a person achieves that objective of unity in the country, the objective that you are defining as the goal of the Jubilee merger, which is to unify the country and reduce on tribalism and all these things. James Rege has come as an individual. Are you sure that he has come with the people that he represents? That is a question to ponder. But the big question is that what we are saying is there are people who came to join, who declared interest to run on Jubilee. What we wait to see is the impact of the movement and how that ties in with the objective that Jubilee has declared, that by bringing all these people and parties together, we have achieved better national unity.
Let's talk about the impact of those
and the thing that I really want to disabuse Jubilee from doing, and we are friends, is trying to equate the building of one party into a big party with the notion of unity. Because there is no time we're going to have one party in this country. Does it mean that until we achieve everybody moving into Jubilee will have national unity? Or what do you mean? Because there will be always other parties. Those parties exist by right and by constitutional provision.
Would you say then if they had more representation from these areas in which they are quote-unquote receiving defectors from, that would create the image of a national outfit? Would that do?
I don't know whether that's in fact a desirable thing to do. I mean, we must assert our right, democratic right to belong to any party of choice and to associate according to your ideological beliefs. So as long as that is the goal, regardless of how many parties we have, people are arguing that is good enough. Tribalism does not come because of political parties. They are instruments that create, or the actions in the state that actually are intensifying, or within our parties and our social fabric that are creating or intensifying the evil of tribalism. So we have to look beyond just formation of a party as a remedy to the tribalism question or to unity.
Quickly,
let me just
before we get to
David,
that,
you know, creating national unity is not an event where you call people to Uhuru Park and say, now we declare national unity. National unity is a process. It's something we have to act for.
And that's what we
and having a party where people are not going to be divided on the basis of tribe is an important and significant first step. And I think what all parties are doing, even in TNA, we try to get
that's what
officials.
all parties are doing.
Absolutely. You know what they're doing is just pretense. So we pretend we are a national party. We are not a national party as TNA. We know that. We are a party that draws its strength predominantly from one region. And then we put some.
So you're conceding that you, as a former member of TNA, was part of a tribal outfit?
Party.
It was a
party that
outfit.
draws its supports predominantly from one region, and then because of chlorophyll, you know, the green coloring matter, we put some official here, another one here, so that you can hear there's an Onyango law or there's a Sakaja. ODM
You are
is not a
actually
national
going
party.
on national television and saying that the outfit that got President Uhuru Kenyatta elected was actually a tribal
national party.
outfit.
That is a part of
ODM
is not a national party. It is largely a Luo affair. URP was largely a Kalenjin affair. These guys,
with
with some chlorophyll there, some dot here and there. So that is the reality, that is the truth, the ugly truth that we are confronting by bringing these parties together to create a truly national party.
Let's move to the question of defectors. Has it put a dent in your armor?
I don't feel so, because one of the so-called defectors, James Reggae, is an MP from Karachuonyo, which is in Homa Bay County, which is a county that I represent. I was in Homa Bay on Friday, and I was with elders from the community, and they were very clear that they did not send James Reggae to Jubilee. In Coast, and this was very well articulated by the Senator for Kwale, Boy Juma Boy, he said, fine, Jubilee has come and taken some of our leaders, but they forgot to take the common man. I think the focus should not be who represents certain regions within the high table in Jubilee. We should ask ourselves whether the common man has moved. Now, secondly, Anne, my view is that the president has head of state. His job should be to define what makes us Kenyans. If you distill a Kenyan, what do you get? It is his mandate, it is his job to build a Kenyan essence, a Kenyan spirit, a nationalistic spirit, rather than building political parties and assuming that it is through those political parties that we will get that sense of Kenyanness. I think they would be getting it wrong. And a most fundamental point, people do not do away with tribalism and disunity because there's a new party in town. Issues of tribalism are a result of resource imbalance, and we must deal with that. Moses Kuria must go and look at the report by Kaparo, National Cohesion and Integration Commission, that shows clear imbalance in allocation of national jobs. I guess very soon they'll be doing another audit on issues of resource distribution and resource allocation. People feel excluded when they see certain areas getting more favors simply because they voted for specific personalities.
Fair enough, Senator, but I do think the contrary argument would also be like in areas such as Mombasa, the titles were given, etc. Perhaps Jubilee would argue, but let's stay on the question.
And this thing of, and I remember we discussed it here, the people of Mombasa are saying, yes, we got titles, but what about the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission report? We want a holistic implementation of the recommendations. That is just tokenism that does not solve the root cause of the problem.
All right, let's return to the question of shifting alliances, if you like, and specifically focus on what ODM's feat yesterday. Moses, in your David, I beg your pardon, in your opinion, was it Hassan Joho affair or was it ODM's 10th birthday celebrations?
I think it was largely, well, it was an ODM affair, let's put it that way. But the key player was clearly, the central player was clearly Joho, whose star is obviously rising. He has taken a very strategic position, and you know, people looking at the future, his future politically in ODM, and even within CORD, if that is going to be, I believe there's going to be new alliances which will be formed.
Is it still rising, particularly because Jubilee has been so keen in the coast region, and he's coming off as the stalwart defender, if you like?
Well, yes, he's towering because of the position as Governor of Mombasa, which is a significant post in the whole of the coast region, but also because he has certain clout by virtue of his networks, his capacity to mobilize, the strength he's giving to ODM and to Raila in person in enabling the party to stand its feet on in the coast. But he's not alone, and obviously there will be other people who are going to emerge. I think what was happening in Kajwang's place, and he might be able to tell us, and they did a good thing. In fact, I think if you compare the two events, the Jubilee one and the coast one, I think in terms of what they achieved in projecting the public, ODM did a great job of marking the 10 years. If you listen to the speech, they chronologically listed what role they have played up to the period, up to this, whatever. But it was a strategic action to counter the dominance that Jubilee would have had to run away with the day. And I think one must commend them. Whether Joho was at the center of it, I don't know. It must have been a late decision to counter this.
Is Joho positioning himself for something bigger within the party? The party, ODM, was clear that Raila is the running mate, as if that was in question. The question is, will he, will be the flag bearer. Whether it is in question, whether he'll be the cord flag bearer is something else that we're yet to see. But do you think Hassan Joho is positioning himself for number 2 in whatever capacity? Perhaps if ODM goes it alone, that he would be the man standing next to Raila. What do you think, Moses?
I saw 3 things yesterday in that small bash at Mama Gila Gardens in Mombasa.
Small bash?
One, and all of them revolve around my good friend Raila Odinga. One, I really sympathize with Raila. Look at his colleagues in the court coalition. They all want him out. Make no mistake. And Kalonzo's mind is, if I'm not the candidate, there's no court. Weta's mindset is, if I'm not the candidate, there's no court. We saw it with Kalonzo. He was with us. Why did he leave us? Because one condition is either my way or the highway. And that's the reality that Raila is confronting, and I really respect what he did. Look here, I am ODM. I'm going to Mombasa as ODM. Kalonzo, we're Jipange. Weta, we're Jipange. I really like that, what he did. Because I think he's realizing these guys are just there to waste his time. 2, so he has got, people who are not very good friends within the coalition. Now, within his own party, some people just sing his praises for their own good. Joe being one of them. And Joe is playing this game very well. He just wants to say, if you pass Kibwezi going down, that is his territory. So his argument in the area is very simple. Anything touching Kibwezi south, that is him. He has marked his territory, and as long as it's secure, he doesn't give a damn whether Raila becomes president or does not become president. And then that thing, now then Raila becomes a captive of history. For him, everything is historical. Oh, nani alidhulumu nani? Who nyanyasad who? So that becomes now his bad enemy. And we say, history is a good lesson to learn, but a terrible bed to sleep in. And the problem with my good friend Raila is that he still sleeps in the bed of history. So if you combine history, he's not very good friends within ODM, he's not very good friends within court, it was a culmination. I think he was just there for therapy.
Well, let me move to, sorry Senator, let me just move the conversation forward specifically to the question of Kalonzo Musyoka and Moses Wetangula. Where do they stand with ODM now that Raila has also said his hat will be in the ring in 2017?
It must be made very clear that we were celebrating 10th anniversary of ODM. CORD was born on, I think, 15th of December 2012. So when it gets to 15th of December 2012, we'll have another birthday party for CORD. This was for ODM.
With 3 presidential candidates, hopeful?
Yes, CORD brings together the 3, and we expect to bring others on board. The resolution we made yesterday was that Raila Odinga would carry the flag for ODM, the same way Wetangula is carrying the flag for Ford Kenya. And when Wetangula was launching his bid, I personally attended the event in Kakamega. And we expect that Kalonzo will also be endorsed by Wiper. I think this is a proper arrangement within a coalition. Remember, we are in a coalition. We are not in a single party the way the Jubilee crew is. But the mandate we gave our party leader, Raila Odinga, go and negotiate and discuss with the other gentlemen, not just the 2, but others within the political space, so that we can have an agreement. But you asked a question about Joe angling to be number 2. Joe is already deputy party leader of ODM. He's co-deputy party leader with Wycliffe Oparanya. So it puts him in number 2 or number 3 in the pecking order. Does it put him number 2
on a ticket?
Of the party.
On a ticket?
Of the party, not the ticket. Because ultimately, we believe that the flag bearers shall come from a broad coalition of parties that is not exclusive to ODM.
Makali, what do you think of that? And while you respond, could you also answer where this leaves Amani, Kenya, and KANU? I mean, can Kalonzo and Wetangula offer anything new to a possible Raila run in 2017, or will he have to start looking elsewhere?
First of all, I don't think Joho is going to be, or is angling to be number 2 to Raila Odinga if he decides to run on ODM alone. I think Joho wants to preserve costs, and he wants to preserve his position as governor of Mombasa in 2017. I have no doubt in my mind. I don't think he's aspiring for higher than that. But he wants to define himself as the kingpin in Mombasa or along the coast for the ODM party. See, there are going to be 3 major battlegrounds for 2017. The coast region, western region, and the Kisii region. Those are principally the areas which are going to define how the next election goes out. As to the Kalonzo Wetangula, matrix, A lot is happening within CORD. I wouldn't speak when the principal member is here, but I think there are a lot of undercurrents and people don't want to speak about those things. But there is tension, there is unease, there is almost a foreboding that something is going to happen and CORD is not going to be in existence at the 2017 elections and there's going to be a new alliance. Whether it will comprise of the current membership or others, but I'm sure it's going to be led by Raila Odinga. He's going to form another alliance that is going to either include these ones who are there or not. Western, I think that there is a serious determination to present a candidate from there. Whether it's going to be Wetangula or Musalia Mudavadi is yet to be seen, but I see that a candidate is going to come from there. Watch this space.
Final comments, gentlemen. What are you looking forward to since the drum beats are clearly already sounding?
Well, I do hope that Jubilee will reduce on their wastage and utilization of state resources. I also do hope that in the week that we are going into, they will come out with greater clarity on the source of funding for some of these activities. It is really sad that the mother of the nation, Mama Margaret Kenyatta, has had to do marathons to get ambulances to distribute to counties, yet in the blink of an eye, Moses Kuri and his guys and his team are able to amass billions of shillings to spend in a single day. I think we should not appear as if we are vomiting on the shoes of the taxpayers and vomiting on the shoes of the people who we are supposed to be fighting, whose rights we are supposed to be fighting for.
Moses.
3 things. One, we as Jubilee want to do the good things for this country, for the people of this country, and we have actually agreed to ignore CORD. So because of this, they don't exist in our minds. So their skepticism, their cynicism, so we're still going to do all those things they criticize. Because even if we do good things or how, they're not going to see anything good from us. I do hope that whoever is defeated next year is going to give a very big bear hug to the guy who wins. And we have the first peaceful transition, no Supreme Court, and no street battles. And finally, on our source of funds, I'll tell him what I told my friend Junet. When they go out there and they throw stones in the demonstration, we do not ask them where they get their stones from. So let them not ask them where we are getting our, money.
Well, certainly you're not collecting it from the roadside.
But they are not getting any money. If they have lost any money in the Orange House, we can maybe open an investigation. It's not their business.
They haven't lost money. The country has.
Where?
We have several corruption scandals with a question mark.
What do they have to do with Jubilee launching? You know, these guys, they have to mind their own business. And I know they are suffering from small defeats and small...
And you know, they said when the gods want to destroy you, they first make you arrogant. And that's how Jubilee will be destroyed. Arrogance.
All right. Makali.
Well, I have nothing more to say. I think...
they've said it all.
The combatants have said it.
Will be interesting. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. We're taking a short break on Sunday Live. We're back with more after this.